Hello, I'm the one in 1.3, welcome to the family. So this is part 2 of the video that I recorded before, which focused more on the English, but in this version of the video I'm going to be focused a lot more on maths and science and some of the extra things such as dressing and hygiene and sports that you should be working on with your Year 4 home educated child. Now hopefully you got through the last video. I guess it would interest more of a market of people who have children within that age range, so it might not be beneficial for you now, but when it is beneficial for you, at least you'll know that you have the videos here. One thing that I didn't mention on the last video that is still quite important for a Year 4 child is, especially if they're thinking about 11 plus for them, is the verbal reasoning books. These verbal reasoning books are fantastic, and I would suggest you get these if you have a child in Year 4, possibly thinking about the 11 plus for them, but even if you just want to build up their vocabulary. So verbal reasoning is a really good book. This one is for Year 2, so it's showing you that you can focus on verbal reasoning from the younger ages. I think they start from Year 2, but they have got a Year 3 range, a Year 4 range, Year 5 range, Year 6 range, and you know that you can go a lot further on that as well. But in this video right now I'm going to be focusing on maths. Okay, so here goes. What is that on my eye? That's fine. Perfect, now let's move on to maths. There are several things in maths that your child needs to know in Year 4. If they were in school, they would have a timetable test that they have at the end of Year 4 where they should have known all timetables up to 12. Not just know them, but know them fluently. You could join up to Timetable Rockstars. I believe there's a free version of Timetable Rockstars, but that's one that schools use a lot. So Timetable Rockstars is quite good at helping your child to keep memorising their timetables and having that fluency and that rote learning for timetables. But it's really important that your child is really good with their timetables up to times 12. I would say try and do it earlier if you can. So if you have a child younger than 12, by the end of Year 2, if you can get your child to learn the timetables, all of them, they'll be on a really good path for their maths later on. Timetables affect everything to do with maths. So things like fractions, your child needs to know timetables in order to work on their fractions. When they're doing addition, they need to know timetables. All the operations come together at a certain point, but knowing the timetables will really help your child learning. People that I know that have used Kumon maths have done quite well in their maths in general after as well. Not fully, but just in terms of the speed and the accuracy, Kumon maths are quite helpful for the maths. I wouldn't say Kumon English. I haven't really noticed the difference with Kumon English, but Kumon maths is okay. You don't need to join Kumon to do that though. They do have a lot of paperwork in terms of doing the Kumon, and it's okay, but I have only noticed the thing that I've noticed for children who have attended Kumon when I'm at school is more the fluency of their work. Place value is also very important for children who are doing maths. They need to understand and use the 4 digits when they're in Year 4. So that's basically the hundreds, the tens and the units and the thousands. They need to know how to round their numbers to the nearest 10, the nearest 100 and the nearest 1,000 as well. They need to know how to compare and order numbers up to 10,000. They need to know their multiples of 6, 7, 9, 25 and 1,000. And they need to identify Roman numerals as well. So they're the core things your child needs to know for number and place value when they're in Year 4. If you learn this now, that'll make things so much easier for them when they get up to Year 5. For addition and subtraction, they should be able to add, and if they know their timetables and their multiples and knowing how to double, that'll make things a lot easier for them as well. Even their number bonds are quite important as well. They need to be able to add and subtract 4-digit numbers at least, using the column method. Your child needs to be able to solve word problems, including addition and subtraction. If you notice that your child is finding comprehension difficult in English, then they probably would find word problems hard in maths as well. This is why the reading comes into different subjects as well. So make sure that your child's reading is really good, reading comprehension is really good, and that will also help with their maths word problems as well as a key knowledge of maths. They need to know about inverse operations. Now this comes up a lot in Key Stage 1, knowing how to use inverse operations, but in Key Stage 2 it comes up a lot as well. So these skills, you're just kind of building on them and the numbers are just getting bigger. But the inverse of add and subtract, they need to understand that, and the inverse of times tables and division, they need to understand that as well. With the multiplication, they need to be able to multiply 2-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers and 3-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers as well. That will make it really easy when they get into Year 5, where they've got to work on 3-digit numbers times by 2-digit numbers. So get this right now in Year 4, and then it will make their maths so much easier when they get to Year 5. Fractions and decimals, work on this one. If you can work on this one in practical concepts such as when you're ordering pizza or making pizza at home, getting them to understand what fractions actually are and getting them to understand it on a different level. So there's part of Singapore maths, and we also use it in the national curriculum, is the 3 parts. You've got concrete maths, which is based on physically seeing it, physically touching it, physically moving it. Then you've got pictorial maths, which is based on seeing a picture of the maths and working out the maths in that way. And then you've got the abstract maths, which is based on seeing maths in your mind and around you and being able to work it out. So I was saying year 4, work on the concrete maths in terms of pizzas, hands-on things like this, continue working like that, and then move them into pictorial maths and then into abstract maths. Measurements are really important, so lots of cooking with your children, making lots of cakes with them, helping them to actually use measurements, helping them to look at the jugs, look at the scales, look at the intervals in between, look at what each points, what each interval means. Can they work out, if they have like a measurement, can they work out what the halfway point means? Is it like 2.5? Is it 250? Those are really important in terms of measurements. They need to know what centimeters are, what meters are, what grams are, what kilometers are. They need to know what, so maybe if you have like a meter stick, they can help you, no, or like a measuring tape, they can help you measure the carpet around the house, or measuring. That's really good. You can do this in a practical way to make it more fun for them, so that when it comes down to looking at abstract methods and pictorial methods, it'll be easier for them as well with their measurements. Telling the time is really important in year 4, so get your child a watch at this stage and help them to understand how to tell the time from the analog clock and also from a digital clock. So if you have this around your house, it'll make it easier for them. You can have them on the microwave, maybe on your cooker. My cooker has a time there, but help them to identify where they see digital time, maybe on mobile phones, they'll have it there, but having an analog clock is really helpful as well. And just keep looking at time, getting them to figure out what time is it, what time do you have to leave, and make it very practical in their day-to-day life to make it easier for them. And then your child should be able to solve problems involving money, and you have a good, because you're at home with them, get your purse out, get lots of change within your purse, get them to work with real money as well, get them to go to the shop and buy things to make sure they're understanding how to use a pound, how to get change. Change is quite hard for children, knowing how to get change from a £10 note. That's a good one to have. So even if you buy something a bit cheap, maybe £2.69 or something, give them a £10 note and get them to work out what the change would be. That's really good. They should be able to identify money. They should be able to identify the order of money. So the order of money is 1p, 2p, 5p. Then it's 10p, 20p, 50p. Then it's £1, £2, £5, and then it's £10, £20, £50. And our notes go up to £50 maximum. But get them to look at the order of the 3 and get them to identify money as well as use money correctly. And then you've got geometry. Geometry is quite important for year 4. They should be able to identify and compare angles. We look at acute angles. I like to say, oh, it's acute one. Acute is the smallest one. You've got the acute angle. You've got the right angle. They can show their hands, like make it L shape. And then you've got the obtuse. We try to bend our fingers back as far as we can go for the obtuse angle, just to get them to understand the differences. Acute, right angle, obtuse. And then help them to identify what that means. Help them to look at like 180, which is half the measurement of the circle. They should identify lines of symmetry. You can do that based on your face, like using a mirror, show them that there's a line of symmetry down your face where, you know, both parts of your face. This is why the design of God is so good, even in maths, you see, because with evolution, they just teach that we're just random, but everything's symmetrical. That's just impossible. Like, it's impossible just to happen by chance. It's incredible. Like me sitting here right now, I'm symmetrical. Not exactly symmetrical, but I am. Like, I've got earring on both sides. I've got my face line over here. I got my front teeth. That goes, like, it's symmetrical. My hair's a little bit symmetrical. My hands. Show your child what symmetry means for themselves. You can make, like, use this in art as well. Make butterfly images by painting, like, fold your paper in half, paint one side of the butterfly, close it, open it back again, show them what symmetry means in that way. Okay, so symmetry is really lovely for children. I like working on symmetry. Symmetry is really lovely for your children to work on. Lots of things are symmetrical. You see, so if you can find things in your environment that makes things symmetrical, that are symmetrical. Look at the difference of 2D shapes and 3D shapes. They've got to understand words like quadrilaterals, words like triangles, polygrams, parallelograms. These are key words that your child should be learning. My flashcard curriculum deals with all the key words that children need to learn, so you can check that out as well by going to my website. Children should also be able to plot and interpret coordinates on a grid as well. And then finally, they have statistics in year 4, where your child has got to read and interpret bar graphs, line graphs, and pictograms. And then again, solving information with graphs and charts. So you can do like maybe some orienteering. There's some clubs you can go to that have orienteering classes as well they can go to. But in terms of curriculum, one of the curriculums that I recommend for year 4 would be Conquer Maths. Lots of people in the home education community use Conquer Maths. They have a subscription on their website for £120 for the year. I can give you a discount at £75 for the year. If you go to my website, join our community, you can get a discount for that for all of your children. I also help you with that by I set the task for you directly, which is included in the price. I set the first, just for the first one, I'll set the first diagnostic test for your child. Then I'll analyse it for you, work out the gaps for your child, and then send it over to you.
Now in this lesson we take a look at 1/2. Example 1. We're asked to colour 1/2 of each shape. Well, there's a rectangle there. To colour 1/2 of that, we could colour the left side there. Same rectangle, interesting. If we coloured an
So Conquer Maths definitely is a really good one that you can use. Also, Khan Academy is free. It doesn't really follow the UK model. It follows the international model. The way that they learn the maths is slightly different, but if you want something free, Khan Academy is a really good website to go to. Then I'd also recommend the ISEB version of the maths, year 4 version. This one's quite good because it gets you to read out the concept of the maths first of all, and then answer questions. So the first page is based on place value. Your child will read and understand it, and then read and understand it again, and then they have exercises that they can cover as well. So all you would need is basically squared paper to get them to answer the questions. They got exercise 1.1, and then it moves on and gets a little bit more challenging as they move through the book. But these books are brilliant. They have a little bit more challenge involved in them, but I've used this I use this more for my tuition, and I've dipped in and out of them for my children at home as well. Other books you can use are Maths on Target. I haven't got the year 4 one, but this is a year 5 version, and the way that it works is that it has different colour. It introduces a subject to at the very top, and then it has tasks that your child can do. A is the easier task, B is the average level task, and then C is the task that's a little bit more challenging. But this covers everything in the national curriculum. It's really, really helpful. I'll leave all the links for you down below, so you can just click on these yourself if you want to, or like I said, join my community to make things a lot easier for you. Then I have the same book, this one over here, it covers maths as well. Yeah, so here's Roman numerals I quite like. And the good thing about these books is that it kind of breaks down the Roman numerals, where they have the history behind them. Like I said, this one is quite nice as your main spine, your main core of your curriculum if you wanted to use that. Other ones you can use is bonds. Bonds are quite good for 11 plus, but you can also use them at home. This is a bonds one 10-minute test on here that gives you loads of tests that your child can just do. And it has like categories at the very top to help you to know what your coverage is, such as number, problem solving questions. And they also have another range, which is the no nonsense range. I quite like the no nonsense range books if you have the whole set, because they have a section in here that's called How Am I Doing? So what I tend to do, I would give my child a test first of all to see how they're doing. Yeah, so you test your child, and then you can work out if your child found, let's say they found the time difficult over here, you can then go back and then look at the time task and work on that with your child. Or just work through the books and then test them after. I've got full cat fur on me. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, I think I've covered all of those. ISEB also has science as well. So if you want to do science for your child, you can go to the ISEB range as well. They have science books in there as well that you can teach your child. Obviously, these books will cover things like evolution in there. So it's up to you, depending on what it is that you want. This is annoying me as well. So if you wanted to use the ISEB range of the books for science, they are quite good as well, and it covers the full coverage of what they do in school. But if you don't want to use the ISEB range, I would say go for Apologia Science, which is ones that I really like. The Apologia Science are quite good, and the books are quite intense. So you might want to get a few of these books and work through them, or you can just work on one topic area for the whole year, which is one of the approaches that I use with my children. But if you want to have a full coverage like what they use in school, I would go back to the main book that I spoke of, this one. This one covers science as well. Yeah, there's lots of science in these books you can just read with your child and just do experiments with your child. Or you can go on to something called Seneca Learning. Seneca Learning is quite good at giving a full coverage of science of what would be covered in school. Other things for science, what other things have I got? Yeah, it's quite nice having a spine to know what to do for science. There's other books you can read as well, like the Well-Trained Mind, which teaches you another way of teaching science. You've also got the Core. This one, the Core. It teaches you a little bit about, my front cover's gone, it teaches you a little bit about how you can teach science in a different way as well. But I think choose a science curriculum that will work for you and your children. IXL, really good in terms of just giving you key facts about science as well. But yeah, that's a core 3 subjects that I would say you can use with your child. And you have to just think about a history curriculum and a geography curriculum that you want to use with your child as well. ISEB does all that as well. But if you have any questions about other subject areas for science, let me know. But my main videos over here are just kind of teaching you the main cause of maths and English. But okay, so now we've kind of talked about academic for you. Let's move on to some other things as well that you can do with your child that's in year 4. So in terms of physical development, some things you may want to work on with your child is make sure that they can run, jump and skip. They could join like maybe a sports club like athletics. They can maybe go to the park with you a little bit more and work on the monkey bars and make sure that they can really like use the monkey bars correctly. You don't have to teach PE in the same way that it's taught at school. You can do things by going to the park and just doing general things at home with your child, or you can join some clubs with them. I know that some home education centres have swimming groups. My children attended swimming groups as well. They have agility groups because a child in year 4 is a lot more agile now. They can do a lot more than you probably know they can do. And they want to celebrate with you. You can do things like skateboarding with your child, like do things like rounders, like get some friends over, play rounders with your child. Teach your child to ride a bike if they haven't learned how to ride a bike already. Teach them to ride a bike without stabilizers. We don't do stabilizers here. They need to just learn how to control the bike by dropping to one side, dropping to another side, and eventually learning how to ride the bike. I've got a video over here called How We Do PE at Home. You can check out PE about what we did and maybe use some of these things at home with your child as well. Swimming confidently would be quite nice. That maybe your child can swim at least 25 meters. That would be really good. If your child can't swim, maybe you want to give them some swimming lessons. Like when my children did swimming lessons, we had such great discounts within the home education community. I saved up maybe 75% on swimming lessons just by going with the home education community. So check out Facebook boards, check out talk through word of mouth, see what sports are available for your child to get involved in. Chess is another good skill that you can teach your child and get them involved in how to play chess. Really good for maths, really good for analytical thinking as well. You can improve your child's fine motor skills. We talked about this already through things like handwriting, like helping to practice handwriting every day as an art, and it's more like the fine skills that they're learning about there. Check that your child can throw and catch a ball. You know, many children can do this already, but if you're not really doing that, then how are they supposed to know how to do it? So just to be mindful of the fact that, you know, ball games are quite good for children. They do a lot of this at school. Can they kick a ball? Can they catch a ball? Can they throw a ball? And if they can't, practice these skills with them because it'll be good for them to know how to do these things. Skip and rope. Can you teach your child how to skip? Like give them the opportunity to learn how to skip. Using a hula hoop. Can they use a hula hoop? Like, you know, maybe play some music and they can do some hula hooping together with you in the garden. You can do like the game where you use a hula hoop to jump around it in a circle. These are all things that, you know, you can just do for free of them, checking that they have all these actual main skills that you may not have considered before within your home education. In terms of independence and responsibility, make sure your child is washing themselves correctly. Maybe have a structured order about what they do to wash themselves, like maybe wash their face first, going down the body, face, then maybe make sure they're washing their neck area with soap in the neck area, make sure they're washing under their arms, like make sure they know how to wash underneath their arms. In my household, we like to use a little bit of Dettol in their bath. I'm not sure what you do, but I know a lot of Caribbean families, we tend to use a lot of Dettol. My children use Dettol. Then you're working your way down the body, showing them how to wash themselves. Maybe they're getting a bit shy at this stage and they don't want you to do it, but just have that conversation with them about how they should be washing themselves, putting the flannel in the flannel basket after so they can go downstairs to be cleaned, and they have like maybe several flannels in your home as well. Maybe have like in my home we use like different flannel codes, so every child had a different colour flannel that they knew was theirs, and I'll just keep buying the same colour for them so they knew which one was theirs. Making simple meals. In year 4, my children were learning, I taught my children how to cook quite young and how to use simple meals. You can see loads of videos on TikTok with little children who are so young who are also cutting. I'll also use a sharp knife. If they need to use sharp knives to cut onions, they need to learn how to use a knife carefully. If they're cooking from the stove, just show them how to make sure the pot handle's in the right direction so they don't get hurt in any way. I teach my children about knowing the difference between hot and cold. So like when they're washing dishes, they might want to use gloves where the water's too hot, but they've got to learn how to test it for themselves. My children could learn, the basic skill that we learned as children was learning how to make themselves a sandwich. If they felt hungry, they knew how to make a sandwich, jam sandwich, cheese sandwich, peanut butter sandwich, just simple sandwiches. They learned how to make that quite early. Also toast, they could learn how to make toast for themselves. My children knew how to make scrambled egg with toast. They can make me a cup of tea because I love a cup of tea. I wanted them to make it for me. They learned how to like not fill the cup to the very top because if it spills on you, you're going to get burnt. You know, stuff like this is what I did. I remember their dad's side was horrified that my kids were using the stove to cook and they were not allowed to cook at their house. But at my house, everyone cooks. Everyone, you know, we get on with our things. You know, I think when my kids were 11 months old, I used to give them their food and they learned how to blow at 11 months. I thought that was fine. They just had to know. Was it 11 months? Maybe that's a bit cruel. Not sure. But when they were younger, they learned how to blow their food. I remember one of my sisters came around and I gave them fish fingers from the oven and gave it to them. And she's like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't blow it for them." I was like, "I don't really blow it for them." And my kids were there, the fish fingers blowing on it and learning how to eat it. But I'm not a cruel mum. I just feel like certain things they just have to learn how to do. I never really cut the apple skins off my children's apples. I just cut them up, give it to them, and they either eat around it and leave the skin there. But my sister's like, "Wow, man," because when I went to my sister's house, she would cut the skins off the apples. And I thought, "Oh, that's so nice." And I started doing that for a bit to be like a nicer mum. But yeah, my kids knew they just had like apples as they were and they were fine with it. Your children should be able to pack their own bags. So if you're going swimming, help them to pack their own bags. Whenever we went on holiday, I would give them a list and tell them to pack their bags. I would check it after, but they would pack their own bags with the stuff that I'd given them. Then you had to follow directions and instructions. Your year 4 child can do that too. My kids knew, when they were younger, they knew how to follow a morning routine. So I let them sleep however they wanted to when they were a little bit older, when they were in the teenage stage. But when they were younger than that, we had a bedtime at 7:30. They knew that they needed to do certain things before they went to bed, such as reading the Bible together as a family or on their own, brushing their teeth, like doing whatever the routine was they needed to do. They learned how to do that. So I think you can teach your year 4 child how to do that as well. Keeping their bedroom tidy. We had a basket that they can just throw everything into the basket if they didn't know where to put it. And then I taught them one by one where those things should go. So they might have everything in there, like clothes and their toys in there. Then after a while, as they progress in age, I'll show them, okay, now we need to look at this basket. Clothes go where? I showed them how to fold clothes. I showed them how to spread their beds. Showed them when we would like change our sheets at every second week. We change our sheets together, bring them downstairs. So all these skills within the household, teach your children these skills over and over again. Show them how to hoover, show them how to sweep up. Don't just expect them to know how to do it, because they won't just know how to do it just because you say, okay, it's time to sweep up, or, oh, you're 9 years old, you should know how to do this. No, they won't know how to do it. You've got to teach them each skill. Even if you're wiping down a surface in the kitchen, show them how to, check the side. If there's something that maybe fell on the side, they might use a spoon or a knife to kind of scrape off the side to make sure there's nothing hard there. Or if they're washing out a pot, my sister taught me this, but I never knew how to wash up pots when I was about 9 years old. My mum used to get really upset with me about it. But my sister taught me that when you're washing out a pot, check around the side of the pot, check if you can feel anything there. And if you can feel something there, you might not be able to see it, but there's something there, and you need to wash around it and use the scouring pad to wash it. So show your children how to do that as well. Your children should know how to use an alarm clock. You can set the alarm clock for them, but they should know that if it goes off, that might be like a warning alarm clock. The second one will be the one we need to get up straight away and go and wake up and do what you need to do. Teach them how to get change, maybe get them to buy something for £10 notes, and even if the item's like £2.69, they would know how to work out the change from the £10 note. £5 good as well, but also use a £10 note to help them. Then try again with £20 notes, and if you're lucky enough to use a £50 note, you can try that too. And then you've got your hygiene and self-care, moved on from the last year 3 video. Continue to show them how to brush their teeth. Like, they should be knowing a good technique for brushing their teeth, maybe like a 2-minute timer. Make sure they're brushing the teeth. They don't need to floss at this age. The dentist says they don't need to floss at a young age. My kids used to do that, but I was told it's too young to floss. So just show them how to brush their teeth. They want to be obviously be a little bit more independent, but just check that when they've said they've brushed their teeth, just get them to show you their teeth and just check that they have done that correctly. Taking baths and showers, we talked about that already. Learn how to use deodorant if they need to at this stage, like roll on first and then the spray. How far, don't keep it too close, because if it gets too close it could burn the skin a little bit. It's a little bit far away in terms of using their deodorant. Talked to them about changing their underwear, and their socks should be changed daily, but they should be changing their underwear like night and in the morning and the night. Change their socks daily. Trimming nails. No, I wouldn't make my year 4 child trim their own nails, but you might. But I'm just a bit weird with bones and splinters and like little nips. That's like, for me, I can handle blood, but stuff like that I can't handle. So I'll be trimming them. I will do it for them at that stage, but that's up to you what you do with your year 4 child. And then in terms of friendships, you can just have a look around, like within the family, like within your neighborhood. Is there friends that your child wants to play with? Keep talking to your child about friendships. Is there anybody that they want to see more that you can try to maintain that routine and that environment of them finding their friends? Try to keep them connected with different friendships. I think that's quite important for them at this stage, if they're interested in that, like making sure that you keep open family friendships. Think about emotional regulation at this age. Help them to deal with frustrations. If they are part of a sports club and they don't get chosen, help them to understand that you won't always get chosen for different things. Help them to deal with frustration. These are skills you can work on as well. Help build your child's confidence up in speaking. We did a lot of YouTube, so my children had to learn how to speak to the camera, and it's really helped them with their speaking. I got my daughter to stand on a chair at certain points of the house and speak to me directly, because I felt like when people used to ask her things like, what's your name? When she was younger, she wouldn't really answer the question about what's your name. So I got her to stand on a chair at home. We would practice that skill. What's your name? She'll be like, my name is Malaya Sky. And we would practice over and over and over again, because I wanted her to know that when a person asks you your name, don't be like, oh, I don't know what my name is. You got to be able to tell them what your name is. And she learned how to do that, basically, and it was fine for her. Help your child to have a sense of empathy, to understand how other people feel. And whenever we saw like people that were homeless and they would ask us for money, we wouldn't always buy money, but sometimes we'd go to a shop and buy them food. Not all the time, but like sometimes I would show my children empathy in that way. And they've got lots of memories of my gran. She's always offer them biscuits and things. So we look at how to have empathy for other people, and we discuss different situations. Why do you think those people are on the street? What could have happened? There was somebody that we met on the street that was part of from the army, and we kind of looked into army lifestyle, what happens in the army, and why is there so many people on the street? Some of them had like PTSD. These are stuff that I did in my home. You might not think your child is ready for that. You need to know when your child is ready to deal with these sort of conversations. But we had conversations about everything, basically. And okay, I'm going to stop there. I've been talking so long. And you know what? I lost my video. I did like 2 hours of filming before and lost my video. So I feel like I've gone really fast, because I just want to get this video out today. And I wanted to make sure that I've covered everything. So I really hope that helps you with teaching your year 4 child at home. If you do have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to answer the questions for you. On Monday, I've got another video coming out which compares the ICCE for the general level, the intermediate level and the advanced level. So check that out on Monday. But I have got videos coming out on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday. depending on when you've seen these videos. But please, I hope this video helped you. Let me know if you're enjoying them, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. All right, God bless. See you later.